Dating actually isn't supposed to be transparent and simple the way that we perceive it to be. How is everybody feeling today? Firstly, thank you so much for joining me on today. Let's roll that intro real quick.
Spin and let the music begin.
Okay, so today I have a dating video. You guys' favorite, my favorite types of videos to actually post about. And this is going to be inspired by the book that I read from my dear friend, Lambert. He has a book called Dating Like a Spartan or Date Like a Spartan. And I pulled some of the best tips that I possibly could. I mean, it's such an amazing book. There are so many different things to highlight. So hopefully I do it justice. I will link his website down below, as well as the link to his book that I am extracting this information from. And I kind of just wanted to pull together and highlight some of these points to really help you guys and really kick some things into gear here, because you guys know I had like that little dating experience. I took a year off of dating anybody completely, and I always get so many questions about what to do with dating and the mindset with that. So we're gonna dive all into that in today's video. Make sure that you give this video a big thumbs up. I'm going to be reading from my iPad, so if you guys see me looking down, that is what I'm looking at. And I really just want to highlight why dating is so important. I know this is such a controversial type of topic where people have their opinions about whether or not you should have a roster, and you know, does dating really matter? All these different types of things. And I believe that this expresses my perspective on this subject in its entirety. And I do agree with, you know, the things that GL has said in his book as well. I just want to preface this by saying that if you were genuinely a sensitive person, I don't even know how you got here, because you are definitely on the wrong channel. This is not the place for you. So if you don't like tough love, you don't want to hear about what it is that you should be doing and face some cold hard truths, click off. Thank you. Now go to sleep, we. Now, for all my angels that genuinely want to progress, let's get into it. Dating is extremely important. And in chapter 2 of GL's book, he asks a thought-provoking question of what is your mindset as it pertains to dating? And he goes on to challenge that mindset of being bitter and lazy as it pertains to dating. And we all know women who complain and say, oh, I hate men. Men are all trash. Men are this and men are that. And that has always confused me. I don't care how many men play games and do whatever it is that they're doing. I don't hate men. I have a father. I have a brother. That just doesn't even make sense. As I'm sure many of you have siblings as well. I think when we make such strong, definitive terms such as that, it's really no wonder that that becomes basically the primary, principle of our experience, right? But don't get me wrong, I understand, I get that it's exhausting and you want to cut to the chase and you don't want to waste your time and you just want to figure out what this means right here, right now. You don't have time for games, all these different things. I hear you. But like G said, weak women make excuses and Spartans make corrections. Why is it that in spite of our beauty and our confidence and even our academic achievements and our awareness of it all, do we compromise when we feel like someone that is our type is in pursuit of us? Yeah, ask yourself that question. We're still going on the house dates. Or we are sexting too early. We're not asking deep questions because we don't want to be too much. We don't want to put too much pressure on him, and we want to just go with the flow. Now, if there's anything I've learned, it's that dead fish go with the flow. The man that truly wants to be with you is not going to be scared of you asking him deep questions. Yes, we are aware of the fact that, yeah, men lie. They can manipulate to get what it is that they want. But if you're equipped for these types of things already, then their tactics simply don't work, and they won't work. They will try, or they can try, and they will fail. So if you're never contacted again, okay, so what? Block them. If a guy's pressuring you for sex, don't give in to those lusty desires just to make him happy. I'll tell you what that is right there. That is a fear response or some weird pity type of thing. Oh, well, I mean, I don't want him to just come here and like we do nothing. Like I kind of want to just like show him what I could do, like give him a reason to kind of stay. No, No. Let the circus commence. We don't need you to do the trips, flip it in reverse. We don't need you to do it. We don't need you to break it down right now. We need you to be still. That's it. If he applies that pressure, guess what? So do you. He can wait. And this is a part that I love that G says. He says that relationships fail when we as women forget that we should be the center. And as a Spartan and dating like a Spartan, you don't get tired of dating because you understand that it's only through dating that you prove your mastery essentially over men and honestly, the world. And here's the thing that I love that he mentions. Dating actually isn't supposed to be transparent and simple the way that we perceive it to be. It's actually meant to test our intelligence and heighten our intuition and force us out of our comfort zone to flex our power. Your confidence is gonna build with every man that you're able to break down and figure out. And that next level of confidence leads you to a better man. And to be quite honest, the ease of your success depends on how quickly you're able to learn these skills. Not be complaining, getting discouraged. Oh, see, this is why I don't even try anymore. Like, okay, girl, like, I don't understand things like this. Like, you ever see people post things and it's like, I want to be with like a nice guy. And then it's like a meme where it says, hey, and then the girl's saying no. You know what I mean? It's like, that perspective has always intrigued me because it's like, of course we're not going to be attracted and, you know, converse with every single person that, you know, just falls into our lap. But at the same time, you can't have this like approach of, oh my gosh, like, see, this is why I don't even do this. Because in a way, saying that basically means that subconsciously in some way or another you were looking for that. So it's like, if you're gonna look for it, well then it's gonna find you. If you're gonna knock, then someone's gonna open the door. Now here's what's interesting. Men actually do have a fear of choosing the wrong woman as well. I mean, we all do. We have a fear of choosing the wrong man. Men have a fear of choosing the wrong woman. And they don't want to overpay. So men are going to try at times to choose dates to expose a basic type of chick because after all, like G says, they don't want to offer filet mignon to a chicken nugget chick. Why would they? So in efforts of a man testing his choices and to see what type of woman you are, he's going to analyze it from these 3 points. Listen closely. 1 is privacy. Men, they want to make it easy to kiss on you, to touch you, to have a conversation with you, have that romantic type of vibe. So usually they'll choose a place that maybe won't be crowded because the intent is to get us either alone at ultimately our place or theirs. Next is drugs or alcohol. Now this is like a huge test. Obviously, these vices, they dull our inhibitions, right? If you're tipsy or drunk, you're not gonna be as guarded. And as a man, yeah, you're probably gonna wanna get a girl drunk or high because if she's easy sexually, then that will reveal itself. I remember I went on a date with this guy. I probably said this in a story time in the past where this guy lived pretty far from me, drove from where he was, picked me up at my house, drove us to the city, drove me back home, and went all the way back home. And when we were at this restaurant that he chose, it was a vegan restaurant, he asked me if I wanted to order a drink. And I was like, I don't drink, so I don't want anything to drink. And he goes, you know, I guess I kind of figured that about you. And if I thought you were like, I don't know what's the term he used, but like a floozy type of girl, we would have Ubered here. And I'm like, wow. So I don't know if that's some sort of trick or whatever the case is, but it's like, I guess if he Ubered the both of us to that location, then more than likely there would have been a higher chance of one, he'd be drinking, I would be drinking, and we would go back to, you know, his place or something like that if he had that perception of me already. But the fact that he was driving and did all that stuff, he already decided in his head, okay, that I was this type of woman already. Do you guys understand what it is that I'm saying? I just thought that was very interesting. Last is limited price. This refers to the cost of taking you out on a date. And here's where the hard truth comes in. Now, a thirsty girl will be, you know, making out with you, doing all this extra stuff, right? Simply because of the attraction. So naturally, a guy's gonna think, wait a second, why spend a ton of money to impress her when she's already impressed. So obviously from a male perspective, you don't want to waste time taking every single girl, you know, out on a date to an expensive dinner in hopes that maybe you'll get lucky that night. So you have to test. And for a lot of men, the only way to figure that out is to lower the bar and see her reaction. And this is honestly the reality of the situation. I get it. We're queens, we're quality queens. Oh, princess treatment or nothing at all these different types of things. But here's the real cold hard truth. Men, especially in the beginning, they don't know you enough to understand like, oh my gosh, like you must be like exactly my dream girl, whatever the case is. They don't know you. They're just taking you out on a first date, whatever the case is. You have to at least understand that at the very minimum. It's a hustle, so you laugh and then you teach them how to treat you. It is our job to show what we will and will not deal with and set those boundaries very clearly. It is our job to do that. Unfortunately, a lot of us are in messy dynamics and messy types of relationships because the tone was not set and the value wasn't set in the talking stage, during the dating stage. You have to ask questions. You have to vet. And I always say this, you ask the tough stuff in the beginning because why not? And G even says on the first date, you should know like specific things. And by the third date, honestly, you should be all in his business, whether it makes him uncomfortable or not. And this is why I don't understand. Some girl commented on my video the other day and she was like, oh my God, like what is this, like an interview? Like you should just like chill and like let things like flow. Girl, bye. You heard it from the male perspective. Dates are not a chore, they are mandatory. Questions are necessary. The more you like someone, the more you may be prone to kind of toning it down and not saying what it is that you want to say. But if that bond is super shallow, you're just meeting someone, you have like no connection to them literally at all, at least the way I perceive it too, I'm gonna ask whatever it is that I wanna ask. Now, overthinking is the result of wanting someone to want you and trying to figure out ways how to get that across before you blow the opportunity. Rewind that and play it again. A man must figure out how to get our attention, how to keep our attention. Getting access to our Friday night, we're dressing up, we're doing, girl, do you know how much, you know, it costs even monetarily for me to just put this plain face on? Okay? Like, it takes effort, especially if a guy knows, okay, like I know she's gonna come looking her best, like that's why he wants to hang out with us. He knows you're gonna be cute. He knows you put time and effort into your outfit and you're just gonna just give away those, you know, those weekdays and whenever and move around your schedule and do all this stuff. No, people have to really prove, especially the older that you get, over the age of 25, people have to really prove like, hey, there are so many other things I could be doing, especially if you have a very fulfilling, you know, life. I have a very fulfilling life. You can't just be like, hey, Friday, you, me? Yeah, we're on. Like, no, like I have a lot of things to do. Like this has to make sense for me. This has to be very much worth it. You know, I'm not just gonna cut down my, you know, weekday and rearrange everything and you're taking me to Red Lobster or something. Like it's not gonna happen, you know? Remember this, that you're always in control. So as soon as your mind begins to shift to, I wonder if he likes me, you need to check in with yourself and wonder whether or not you like them. To look means lack. Remember that. Now, the primary goal when you are dating someone, which is why dating someone is super important and dating in general is super important. I think especially the younger that we are, we tend to have this perception of, I like you, you like me, woo, we're together, because that's the experience. That's how it was when you were in middle school and high school. It's like the only thing you guys had to worry about was seeing each other in school and maybe seeing each other after school. Like, you know what I mean? Real life circumstances didn't take into effect, which is why at that time you guys were probably recreating the same. I mean, you didn't have much of like anything to do besides go to school and go home, you know, and report home to your parents, whatever the case is. But as an adult, as you've cultivated your own life, you have jobs, careers, like genuine interests that are literally the essence of your being that has to be compatible with another person. This is why it's important to have that data and experience with different people and not have this mentality of, okay, well, the next person that I date better be the one, I'm done playing. Like, that you can't have have that type of mentality as it pertains to dating. You just can't. So yes, you want to find someone that embodies the same qualities. You want to find someone that exhibits the emotional potential to grow via deep talks, bonding outside of a house type of thing, or an apartment. Let me also be specific. And also in between dating, communicating. Why? Because you want to peel back the layers. Dating is not about falling in love. I know, crazy, right? That is actually at a relationship level. Dating is simply a test to see if that individual is worthy of your exclusivity. And it's not so much about having everything in common either. It's about mutually coming together to elevate one another. And this is a major key. Never try to be what you think a man wants. Like I always say, anything that you try to be is not sustainable. So when we date, we have to understand rushing is never the answer. And I think in this day and age, the way society is and all the games that are actually being played, it can be really discouraging. So the first sign of charm for longer than 2 months, you're hooked, and then the attraction is there. So then you sleep with them with no commitment. And this is still just the dating stage. And then the mask drops and you realize that you rushed into things and that lust was acting as the glue and the shield and taking place of all the other forms of bonding that should have gone on in that dynamic. And this is going to be confusing because things were once great. And I just have to reiterate this again. Sex too soon without a commitment is always going to cloud your judgment. Always. Because you would be shocked to know how easy it is to be naked with somebody and they actually know nothing about you, and vice versa. Isn't that interesting? So, in conclusion, angels, dating is a very important vetting process. And we mustn't get discouraged with this process because the only thing that comes out of that is quitting, or can lead to desperation like recycling an ex, which is worse actually because the same issues occur, but even sooner because you're less likely to be cautious because you're thinking, oh, why not just stick with the devil that I know? Regardless, revisionist history is strong when you are recycling an ex. But you'll only go back to realize that that memory doesn't actually measure up with reality. And also know this, that men don't have more game than us. Regardless of their status, financial establishment, or education, we are quality queens. We are the prize, and we must be impressed. And any smart man truly understands the value of a good woman. I really hope that this was thought-provoking for you because I really wanted to reiterate why it actually is important to date and also go over a little bit of a man's mindset from a male perspective of how guys sort of vet us and test us in that dating process, and to not give up as it pertains to dating because, hey, like they say, like you have to kiss a lot of frogs, you know what I mean, before you meet your prince ultimately. So thank you so much for watching. With that being said, angels, do not forget that I love you and God loves you, and I will see you beautiful angels in my next video.
Into my life.